Welcome to this video. My name is Pedro Rodrigues Ribeiro. I'm a psychologist, and today, as a key figure in hypnosis and psychotherapy, I would like to talk about Dr. Jeffrey Zeig. Dr. Zeig is an American psychologist. He initially trained into marriage therapy, couples therapy, but also family therapy. He established a lot of years in private practice and also as a teacher in the University of Arizona, for example. And initially in his career, Dr. Zeig was um, a little experimental. He was experimental or experiential. Um, it's the correct word. Um, and this is a very common thing in, for example, in the United States, where in a lot of universities, a lot of colleges, a lot of undergraduate programs, uh, certain kind of approaches, like for example hypnosis, are actually taught and actually are are there. Those kind of programs do exist. So as part of someone's training, uh, a lot of colleagues, a lot of psychologists and psychotherapists, and also psychiatrists can be exposed to uh, clinical and experimental hypnosis during those kind of programs. For example, we have Seabrook University, who has an mind body uh, program, and in that program, hypnosis is included as something that is taught to students, as for example mindfulness, meditation, those kind of things. So it is under his in his thought process when he was training to be a psychotherapist. Dr. Zeig was exposed to hypnosis, to experimental and clinical hypnosis. Dr. Zeig did did a lot of hypnosis in a style that you can consider to be traditional or classical. He actually wrote papers on hypnosis, and when he was writing those papers and learning to do hypnosis, he found the work of Milton Erickson. And Milton Erickson was someone that was starting to get noticed, because in those days, Uncommon Therapy from Jay Haley already got out. So Erickson was starting to get noticed by the community. In that sense, Dr. Zeig realized that he had a cousin, who I think it was a cousin, that lived in Phoenix, Arizona, where Erickson resided, and so he decided to wrote a letter to ask for Dr. Erickson's consultation and advice, and if he could go to Phoenix for 1 or 2 weeks to learn from Dr. Erickson. Um, Erickson replied, and Zeig moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where he stayed, well, to this day. He spent a lot of time with Dr. Erickson. He was one of the original students of Dr. Erickson, and he learned how to be experiential and how to do really hypnosis with Milton Erickson. That's why if you watch Dr. Zeig's style, it's more the Ericksonian approach, that traditional or semi-traditional uh, style of doing hypnosis. And um, Eric's and Dr. Zeig started to collaborate with Dr. Erickson. In those days, one of the books that Dr. Zeig edited or co-authored was a teaching seminar with Milton Erickson. That was the teaching seminar was a bunch of days, a workshop or a week of learning experiences that a lot of students had with Milton Erickson, and that seminar was recorded, and the book was a direct translation of the experiences that happened in that seminar, with some post comments between Zeig and Erickson. So it's a very lovely book. And also, Dr. Zeig was the responsible for a lot of biographical and semi-biographical books on Milton Erickson and his work. Um, in that sense, Dr. Zeig tried to to honor or to get some retribution for the time and the work and all the teachings that Milton Erickson gave him. So the idea was to organize a conference where Milton Erickson and his work were supposed to be recognized by the psychological, the psychiatric, and the psychotherapeutical communities. Uh, that event were to be called the Evolution of Psychotherapy Conference, a conference that today it's well known. Sadly, Dr. Erickson didn't had the opportunity to watch the conference or to be a part of the conference or even to be recognized in that conference, because Dr. Erickson passed away and I think it was a couple of weeks or maybe months prior to the first uh, Evolution of Psychotherapy Congress. But the Congress went along, and Dr. Erickson was recognized by the psychological, psychiatric, psychotherapeutic community as an important part, and also a lot of aspects of his work were established and recognized by his peers as a form of continuing to uh, to to spread the word of Milton Erickson, but also to represent all the Ericksonian approach to hypnosis and psychotherapy. Dr. Zeig was responsible in creating the Milton H. Erickson Foundation. So the, the goals of the foundation is to gather all the more important aspects of Milton Erickson and his work, to divulge, to teach the Ericksonian approach, but also to continue to give the Milton Erickson's work the importance that it has, despite of all the criticisms that we can make towards the Ericksonian approach. In that sense, the foundation is responsible for a lot of events. Some of them are strictly Ericksonian. Well, the only one of the Ericksonian congresses that existed was recently the last one, the Ericksonian Congress, or for the Ericksonian approach. But there are other events such as events in couples therapy, in systemic therapy, and obviously the evolution of psychotherapy conference that and this year it will happen in Anaheim, California, and for the first time it will also be streamed. So if someone wanted to attend the conference, but it can't, but if the person can't go to Anaheim, or because of the COVID situation, in this year the Congress will be held in a streaming mode if someone chooses to be. Lastly, Dr. Zeig is responsible for a lot of books, and he co-authored and authored a lot of books about psychotherapy, about the Ericksonian approach. He has what he calls the experiential books on the Ericksonian approach and in hypnosis and psychotherapy. They are exquisite books. I have, well, probably all of them. So, and they are really simple in comparison to Rossi's work with Erickson. They are direct, simple, and truly a lot of good material in those books. One of the aspects that Dr. Zeig always was interested is to develop a style of experience and invocation. Invocation. So evocative style. For example, Dr. Zeig considers in his opinion, hypnosis is an evocative process of communication. So the therapist evokes that state of hypnosis in the therapeutic relationship. So he has a lot of exercises in therapist development. Also, it's a book called Psychoaerobics, and a lot of other a lot of other books. Sorry. Sometimes I stumble in my own words. Also, Dr. Zeig has a publishing company, Zeig, Thacker and Thiessen Incorporated. They are responsible also in editing books in psychotherapy and psychology in general, but also they're directed into brief therapy and the Ericksonian approach. He's a fellow of HAPA's Division 29, that is the division responsible to in the field of psychotherapy, and also other institutions like, for example, the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis, and the board of a Society of Transactional Analysis. Transactional analysis was a therapy model by Eric Berne. So he he also was in that board. This is a brief presentation about Dr. Zeig and his importance to the field of hypnosis and psychotherapy. If you would like to know more about Dr. Zeig, I recommend it you go to the Milton Erickson Foundation's website. They have a lot of information about Dr. Zeig and also the work of Milton Erickson, and they have books and DVDs and streams, not only in the Ericksonian approach but also other psychotherapeutic models such as CBT, DBT, couples therapy, systemic therapy, emotional emotional focused therapy, whatever. A lot of good information. So I highly recommended you to visit that website. As for me, I would like to thank you for your time. I wish you well, and I see you next time.